Hi guys and girls, and welcome back to Xenus Minis. My name is Greg and this is episode 8 of Build and Paint, the hobby show that answers all of your hobby questions like how do I neatly block in colour? What is the best way to pick a colour scheme? Is the Warhammer community capable of breaking the will of a demon engine? And what exactly does a demonic bowhouse actually look like? Today's episode we are blocking in the colours on our Skitarii Ranger, and it's quite a small model with lots of details, so we need quite a few paints and also some patience. So let's kick things off with how to paint those iconic Adeptus Mechanicus robes. And the first thing I do is make a mistake, but it's not a problem though, as this is the first block of colour we're applying. So I'm using a large base brush to apply a thin coat of Screamer Pink to the model, and you don't need to be too neat here, you just need to aim for good coverage and utilise the flat large surface area of the brush. I've undercoated the model using Chaos Black, and if you've missed out on that episode of Build and Paint, then I've added the link above. Next you'll need to apply a second thin coat to finish off the front of the robes. Once the Screamer Pink is dried, start to paint Rakhar flesh onto the inside of the robes. Rakhar flesh isn't one of the most forgiving paints to use, especially on top of the black base coat. It often comes out quite chalky, so make sure you're applying it thinly over several layers. So I've decided to go for a deep pink colour scheme with a spot colour of bright blue and bright pink. I've picked these colours by using a colour wheel, which is a great way to find out what colours complement each other. I'm painting the Rakhar flesh after the Screamer Pink because it's the lighter colour, and if I make any mistakes it'll be easier to cover up with the Screamer Pink as opposed to the other way around. So once the first layer of Rakhar flesh is dried, it's time to apply a second coat, and you may need to build up several layers until you've fully covered the inside of the robes. Now you'll need some lead belcher and a smaller brush to start painting the armour panels and tubes on the Ranger. I'm using a size 1 brush so I have control over painting the small areas. While we can still do a tidy up step at the end, at this point we're trying to be as neat as possible. Again, you'll want to apply 2 thin coats here, and I've thinned my paint down with Lahmian medium. But you can always use a different medium or even just water. Once you've finished with the lead belcher, then we've blocked in the 3 main parts, and we're ready now to move on to some of the more detailed areas. I've now moved on to a size 0 brush and started to carefully paint the trim of the armour with Balthazar Gold. I often use Retributor armour because it's a powerful and regal gold, but I felt that a darker, more bronze gold fit better with the AdMech and the colour scheme overall. Now I'm going to use Dryad Bark to paint in the pouch, and this Skitarii Ranger only has 1 of them, so this should be pretty quick. Now that all the colours connected to the Screamer Pink are blocked in, I'm moving around the model with Screamer Pink again to tidy up any of the areas where there's any paint overlap. And you can do this with the other colours if it's necessary. After you're happy all your blocks of colours are neat and tidy, you can start applying your shades. On this model I'm using Caribou Crimson on the robes, and that will help deepen the pink base colour. You can do a recess shade and that will save you some time, but I'm going to be reapplying the Screamer Pink and that will help build up the transitions from the base to the shade. Next, take some Nuln Oil and apply it over the armour panels and also the tubes. If you've accidentally used too much shade, you can always soak up any excess with a clean, damp brush. Our last shade is Seraphim Sepia, and we're just going to apply this around the purity seal, but being careful not to get too much of it onto the robe. If you want to catch up and see how we painted the legs of this miniature, then just check the link above. Now we're painting in the remaining fine details. Usually I use Screamer Pink for my purity seals, but because I've used that on the robes, I'm going with Nagaroth Knight. And our final detail for today, apply a layer of Sotek Green to the cabling and the chest light. And guys, that is the end of today's episode. Hope you've enjoyed. If you've liked what you've seen, drop me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And remember, if you do subscribe, you're in with the chance of winning a brand new box of Skitarii Rangers when the series comes to an end. Next week, we're going to be continuing with the robes and the upper half of the Skitarii Ranger, and we're going to be doing some blending, some highlighting, and finishing touches. So I hope you'll join me then, but until then, take care, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.